All right, let's continue on with the next part of drawing a perspective for a 10-foot high ceiling. You can see that we have a grid here that was established from the directions with a 10-foot high ceiling and standing a particular distance back from a wall, over from another side wall. And I'm going to go ahead and put down another sheet of paper to go over the grid so that I'm drawing on it. I had a much larger sheet, and of course I've got the camera zoomed in here to help show it when I'm doing the drawing itself. But I just did as big a sheet of paper as I could, and now I'm just using my a little bit narrower paper because I know exactly what size it is for the finished. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that these are all tacked down really well. Right. And within the next part of the drawing is I need to draw this chase, and I'm going to draw this end table, and it gives us an idea on the heights. Some of the things like the legs, and we just really have to look at it proportionally because the manufacturer is not going to give you that kind of information. But the other thing we have too is that there is a grid that has been drawn on the basic floor plan, and this gives us the chance, instead of dealing with something like this where you're trying to see where each piece is at, by having a grid in place it can help you plot it out just a bit better. All right, the other thing that I'll do too is when we're in our drawing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to label it according to the letters. And because I'm drawing it with this view, I'm going to orient it with A here, B here, and those are the parts in the seat that are going to be about your 20 inches, right? So this part would be where it ends at the 20, so I'm going to mark those, and then I'll do the extreme corners. And then we've got some smaller corners here. That might be trickier. We might have to kind of eye that one, but we'll put them in just the same. And then I can determine, let's see, H. We can bring that across, and then also we'll put a couple more in here because that's where it changes. It'll hit back there, and we can share this with the higher I and J. So we'll put those letters in place to help us for plotting it out. So this object at an angle, here's the piece that we're going with, and it's 30 inches wide by 66 inches long. And so to help with the length of that and counting the boxes, I'm going to go ahead and shift that to the 2 feet 6 inches. This one would be our 5 feet 6 inches, and then we'll just round that to our 3 feet, just be a little bit faster when we're counting. This one, as our 20-inch seat height, it looks like that one we'd have the 1 foot 8 inches. And then we have an arm, that's a little bit nicer at just a even 2 feet. And then this one, we have at 31. I'm just going to make that the 2 foot 6 just to make it a little easier. Technically, well, I'll put it down as the number, but when we're in there plotting, we'll have some liberty. So around 2.6. Here's our 1 foot 6, and then again we have our 2 foot 6. So I'd suggest doing that right away as you go through. I'll have this come in and out of the screen as we go through. All right, but this object has already been drawn to the length and the width in case we need it, and then it's just the seat that we'll have to go over with it. Okay, so we're in the floor of our drawing, right? And when we plot it out, we'll identify that this part here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 foot 6 inches away. Out from the back, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5, so right around here. And then that corner would be 1, 2, 3, 4, little over half, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's our half, so we'll just come a little bit more. So that is point A, and then we do the same thing for point B. So we come over, this one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half. Okay, so we've got the 6 and a half there. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little more than half. So we'll do around 9 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's half, and then a little bit more than that. All right. So that's point B. Then we'd have over to this side here, I'm going to take it all the way over since these line up with each other. We've got E, so that would be about 9 inches over from the wall here. So there's about 6, and here's 9. And then this one is 1, 2, a little over 2 and a half. So 1, 2, a little bit over a half. So this was right about here. Okay, so that corner is going to be E. And these do line up with each other. So what we can do is have it so that we go back. You can connect these on the ground as well to see how that front would be. We can always put the legs in and stuff, but just to help with our box, especially for you to see it in the video. And then we have F is 2 and a half, so 1, 2 and a half right up the middle here in the back. And then we'd have around 9 inches, 10 inches coming forward. So all you can do is just break that in half to find 6, and then go from there to break it in half again. So here is our spot. I'm gonna use a straight edge here so I make sure it's even. Okay, so this part here in this back corner will help me know that this is letter F. And then the last part is just connect B and F. But again, because it's at an angle, I can't just take it back to the VP. I'll start out with my first point with letter A, and I'm drawing this first because this will hide what's behind there. So if I come over and I take my line over, and this is really important that you're using a straight edge so that you're getting at that right spot, then we're going to come up. Now, what I think would be something that I do, and I would like to give it as a suggestion here, is when you know that your seat height is 20 inches, or 1'8", that's going to be where I would make a consistent line, because it's going to deal with a couple points, like both point A, B, and when we also hit point C and J, I, and H. Okay, so I'm going to plan it on the back. Now what I can do too is, since it's back on the back wall plane, I could make it easy on myself, and instead of guessing where it is, I could literally measure it because I'm just on that back wall. So it might just be a little faster. So now if I have that spot and I come in and I connect it to B, the VP through here, and the 1/8, and I'll just make a mark so that I know that that's 20 inches over on that side wall. Now the piece runs straight to the floor, right? And I gave this picture because it's a similar angle to what we've got. So it's going to run up and down. This would be, I'm going to plot this out as best I can, just straight up and down. And then if I want to take some liberties to kind of curve it once I get done, but all my points, I'm really just going to still plan that it's this so that it makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so I'll bring A up. I bring the line up. I don't know where to stop it until I go back over to that wall and then connect it. So if I come over here with A, connect it to the wall, I'm then going to take the point up from here, hit it here, and then carry it back over. But what I would suggest you do is don't draw lines over and up, because you're gonna have a bunch of lines. All I did was make the mark where it was here, where I had my 20 inch, I made the mark here, then took my bar up, carried that, and just made the connection at this point. So this is my point A, so that's that seat. And then to find B, I would do the same thing. So I'm gonna bring B up, it's straight. I've got my triangle on my bar to make sure that it's straight, up and down. Because to be accurate on this, if it's not with triangle in that, I don't even know how you would do it. All right, so this comes over to this point on the wall. I'll take it up until I hit that 20 inch mark, and then I'm gonna carry it back over again from here over to here. okay? So we will then connect it, and that's the seat height for the part right here. So we just established what that is. Later on I can divide it up in the seats, but we're just trying to get this outline in the top for right now. All right, E, we've got E here. Let me go back to my plot. For right now, let's identify what this back piece is, and well, let's see. If we did C, we could do letter C here, and then that way we can figure out how far to go over and to stop the seat. So I'd take that back. We'll do C. So if we've got 1 foot, 2 foot over, and then this would be half, so about 2 foot 3 inches. Let's find 1 foot 2. Here's a half, and here's 3. Now, I already figured out what this line was, right? So I already did that line. That's nice because now if that's 2 foot and that's 3, now I know where my letter C is. So I can put that right there with letter C. Okay, I will fold the sheet over so I can show it a little bit easier that way. I don't take up so much of the screen. Okay. So now I've got letter C, and I'm going to carry that line up because it's 20 inches until it gets to that point. So now I'm going to go up with my line up to here. Okay. Then we'll take it over to here for the wall, right? Up to this area. Then we'll come up to the 20-inch mark. And then I'm going to carry it over again from the 20-inch mark on the wall until it hits my line of letter C right here. So there's letter C. Now that allows me to know how to connect C and A. So I now have that in there. Right. I may need to start erasing some of the lines in a little bit so you can see it. But at this point then we have the front corner. We have the front corner here. We now just establish where it's 20. Now we have an arm height. And so 20, the C is part of that 20, but now it goes up because we have an arm. So this arm is going to be the 2 feet up off the ground, which is nice because we have a rounded number here. So if I was with C and I take it over from here to the wall, I was going up at this point. But this time, instead of just 20 inches, I need it to go all the way to that 2 foot mark on the wall. I'm going to bring that over to here. And now that tells me right here where my arm is at. So that's C. J and these all run across that same direction. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find H, because then I can bring that across here. I could bring that up, and then I could share those lines again for the arm as I go across. So if I have H and I bring it up 1, 2, and it looks like about 3 inches up. There's the half, there's the 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 over. 1, 2, 3, 4 over. So here is, and that's good, look at, because it is right along there, I did okay. All right, great, that was already there. Wonderful. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take H up here. And where H is the 20 inches here, I have to take it over to the wall, go up 20 inches, and bring it back over. So I'm going to do the same thing with H. I'll take that over to the wall. I'll take that up for the 20 inch, because that's, we're first going to find the seat. So here's the 20. Right. Now this is H. So what I'm going to do is I am going to connect these two. So I just established what B was to H. And this is the H where the seat ends. Now I'm going to do that same height like I did with C over here. So taking it over to the wall, bring it to here, take it up from that point. Instead of stopping at 20, I'm going to stop at the 2 foot mark. I'm going to go there and I'll bring it up where that line hits H. And now I've just established what that arm height would be. How thick this is has to come from these two here, J and I. J looks like it's the 2 feet 6 inches over. So 1, 2, 6 feet 6 inches over. And then it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and about 10 inches. So 1, 2, 3, and about 10 inches. Yeah, 3 and 10 inches. 1, 2, 3, and 10. There we go. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And then it was 2 and the 6. Oh, it's got to be over here. That's why. Okay. C is that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Okay. So now J will be marked there. I'll bring that up. I know that this bottom part connects here. So I've got that where the arm starts. That will come up for the front of the arm, and then I would do the same thing. And I'm just going to connect those like that to help me through this with it. I just really just needed to know how far this would come over. Then this one is 1, 2, 3, and 9 or so inches right here, and that gives me the chance to do my arm width there as well. The height is right here, right? And this is the height here as well. And then that's going to go all the way till I get to the back. Let's go ahead and figure out what that back is. E is going to go all the way up. And it says that the height of the back is 36 inches. So that's a nice even number. I'm not going to guess where that is on the wall. I'm going to take it to the wall. Carry it up to the 1, 2, 3 mark. And I now know what the height is for E, which is up here. Do the same thing for F. F is going to go over to the wall. Carry it up to the 3 foot mark. Bring it back over. What I didn't do though was carry the line up, so I wasn't quite sure where to end it, but for now I'll still put that up there. Here is our F. This is F up here. That means I can connect these, right? Something's not right. Let's take a look. So we've come over here. We're gonna go up. Then we're gonna go to the 3 foot mark. Oh yeah, I'm too high. Yeah, I did that too high. It was a little bit off there. Let me go ahead and erase that out, because there should be more of an angle there. Okay. And then let's double check with F. So if F is going over to the wall, I'm going to carry that up to the 3. Make sure this time I have F going all the way up. And it looks like that should be a little higher as well. Okay. All right, so again, I'll run F one more time so you can see. This time I'll make sure that I'm bringing F up here. I'm not going to show the bottom of the line because it's going to get hidden. But if we take F, bring it to the wall, then we're going to go up till we hit to the 3 foot mark. And then we're going to bring it over here. Okay. And then we'll connect the top so that we have E and F. The next thing is to take our arms. We're going to take our arms back. I just need to know how far to take them back. So because I've already established, let's see, no, I don't quite have that. I have that bottom one established here, but now they're both higher. So I have, you know, like letter C and letter J here. I have letter I and letter H over here. Right. Make sure you can see it with the I. I's over here. Now I've got to take it back. So let's figure out where point D is to go to C, and then I can connect these, and that way I'll know where it ends into the back. So let's go to D. D is going to be just a smidge forward for that. And then that would go up here. The other thing we can see is with letter D going right down over here and it coming over, let's see what the 3 foot mark will be. That's 3 feet. I want to see if you're going to see the top of that cushion. Yeah, a little bit. You will see it a bit. So that means that we unfortunately have to plot G as well. So we're going to bring that forward, and you can see it's kind of falling right on that line. So that'll be letter G. We'll take that up, and that hits that front part. So now we'll take what's D and G, and we'll connect the line like so. All right. And then we can carry F down. Well, actually, excuse me, G. G's forward. So this is F. This is G over here. I'll bring G down. And now it's really a matter of where does it hit each other. So I'm going to mark, I marked it G at 36. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to mark G at the arm height as well, which was the 2 feet. So I'll take my line of G over to the wall. Carry that up to the 2 foot mark here on that wall. Carry it here. And this is the part of G where now, and I'm going to erase I so that it doesn't get mixed up in there. Now I can connect G and H. I'm going to do the same thing for D, which is right here. D is going to go over to the sidewall. I'm going to take that up to the 24-inch mark, and then where the line came up, which was right here, I'm going to connect those two. So D went over to this point, it carried up to here. Now I'm going to carry it over to this part here, and that was my letter D. All I have to do now is just connect D and G. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to connect those two. Right? Oops, sorry, I have to do a little bit different there. There we go. Oh, wait. I don't want to do the middle. Sorry. We only need to do it for the width of the arm. All right, so we'll bring that up. This goes to here, and I'll connect it for the arm. This goes back to here, and you see the top. This part can go back over here in the arm. And then we would take this down so that it matches up with that original. Now this part here is one that we have to identify. So I'm actually just going to go down. Let's see. I'll go over and work my way back to that wall and come down. So you can see it's interesting. It's not too much of a difference between the seat and the arm. We're only about 4 inches with that one. So I'm just going to take some liberties here, and then we'll have that come in, see how that comes around, and then we can have it for that. Now, the other part of what you can do too is when you get done, you can take another marker over top of that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do just a simple outline here so that you can see it. And what I would do is estimate it so that the height does this for the thickness, and then you can bring this over for the arm. For the arm, I want you to be able to see that in the video, right? And then you can have it so that it curves a bit. And then remember, we also have like cushion, and then we have the extra part. So I'm going to put some parts in there, and you can bring that in, and then simply work on the legs to have those all plotted out on the ground, and bring those in like so. And this can come in as well, and then bring those in. In the previous video, we had done that where I'll do it in maybe like a red. We had plotted them out in there. You could do that, but I thought I'd do something that, because they're small, we can more or less just plot them to look like we've got the 4 sides. So there's the idea of that piece at an angle. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and erase out all of those marks so that you can see what the plots look like. Right. So there's the finished product on that one, and then the next thing would be to do your table. Right, so we've got this half circle, and it identifies that we have 2'7" by 1'6". So let's go ahead, and this is up near the back wall, so this isn't too difficult. Now, one of the things is this is hiding behind it. So if you need to do it in layers and then take 2 separate sheets to do it, that's certainly something that you could do. I'm going to plot it down on the ground based on what we've got here. So if this comes across the back, you've got come over 6 inches, and you got 1, 2, almost 3 feet over. So 1, 2, almost 3 feet over. Then we have a piece that has 2, about 2.5. So we've got 1, 2, and then it comes here. So what we're going to see is it coming here to about right here. So it's not as big of a curve as what you might imagine when we see it. Now, when that goes up, you can carry the line up, you can carry the other end up, and what we have to do is we have to figure out what is the height at this point here. This height is 2'6", so I'm going to take it over to my sidewall, and I'm going to go up and I'm going to go over. Now, the other thing that's nice is, if I want to, I could go back to my VP here, and I could use the back wall plane if I wanted to, and then bring that down. But I'll go over to the side. So we've got this. It's going to come over to about this point. This is just a lot tighter wall to do it on. So this case, then we've got the height was 2'6", so I'll come over here. It's 1, 2 feet 6 inches. Then that means I'm going to carry this over, and in fact these share that same line. So we come in, do the line over here. Now what I have to figure out is how much of the top am I going to see. So I am going to do that line to the side back from the VP, so I have my consistent point here. And then what we'll do is we're going to find that center point, which is right there. We're going to do the center point here. We'll carry the line up. I'm going to carry it over to the side here at this point. Take it over to that 3 foot mark. Bring it over to the middle. And that would be my center point there. And then from there, I can just connect these 3 points. And then the straight across the back is straight across the back, right? Because it's parallel with that wall. So that's what that top would look like. And you have a table part here. You could plot that out, or for the most part, it's not too hard to take a look at what it is. If you did, you would plot down what it is or figure out how far off the ground. But I'm just going to simply follow the angle that we had here because we're not looking too far on top. And then you can draw out the piece that you had here, right, as well. And then have the table detail here in the center, right? And then we have this, just a slight of a curve, right, because it's going back. We'd have something like this for the top, right? And then you have something here where you've got the thin sides of the legs. Kind of nice to just do a half circle. That gets blocked by that. So all we need to do now is erase out this part because it's behind the chair. We'd see that leg. We can erase out this top portion. And then we can also erase out the part in the center, right, where we have the legs. You can highlight it in a contrasting ink if you'd want to do that. I'm going to do that just so you can see it, but I want you to be able to see that in there. Right? So you got that, and then you've got that decorative detail with the design there. Right, so you've got something like that. Oh, and then we've got our table tray to match, so you could do something like that so that it matches with that bottom part. And then the last thing really is to just go in and add in all the parts for the walls. Right, so if we go in, we'll add in the walls. Right. We already established what our ceiling height was. And now we can simply just add in where the walls, the ceiling, and the floor are at. Right, so I'll follow along here. And just let that fade off. Okay, so we have that, and in the directions then it says, let's see what it says on the top part. Draw the south wall, the ceiling height is 10 feet, the window sill is 3 feet, so let's go ahead and plot that out. Again, drawing what's foreground first can be a bit better than drawing objects that are going to hide. That one's got to come up a little bit. There we go. That marker bled a little bit. It's going to come up a little bit more. All right, and then we'll do the 3 feet for the sill height. Okay, so we'll go in with a sill height of 3 feet up off the ground. So our sill is 3 feet, and it looks like it is a 42-inch high opening, so 3 feet 6 inches for our ceiling height. So we have 3 foot for the sill height and 3 foot 6 for the window. And the width of it, we're gonna go back to that drawing, and it tells us that that window is about 3 feet 9 inches over from the one side. So 1, 2, 3, and about 9, it'll start there, and then this one comes over the 6, the 2, and then maybe like another 3. That's the nice thing about perspectives, they can be some improvisation. Okay, so we got that. We've got the top here. All right, this was the side here, and then just to double check that one was just about 3 feet over. So I just want to make sure that I've got it. And I can measure on that back wall plane, right? Because that's the beauty of the 1 point. I just want to make sure I hit it in the right spot. If not, I'd have to try to figure out counting boxes. Okay, so that's the window. Now for your window, what you do is you're gonna take your wall plane, go back a little bit further, and this is something that gives it depth. So if you imagine the wall continuing on, what you would do is identify where it is here, go back to the VP. So in this case, it's straight on. But if I take a look down on the floor over here, and I imagine what the thickness is of it over here, and I go back to the VP from the front corner, like so. So from here to the VP, I've established a bit of an angle. In other words, I'm extending that back wall plane here. I can then know that this interior part can show the depth of the window, and from corner to corner, I go back to the VP, and I go back from the VP here, and that's how I know what the depth of the window should look like. So extend that back wall. Imagine, you know, it's the 6 inches or so, so I'm eyeing what this box would look like, maybe in half, going back to the VP from the floor line there, pulling that then up, finding that, and then taking this corner back to the VP, because remember, the thickness of the wall is perpendicular to that back wall, so you take that back to the VP. The rest of the directions are indicating that you'd go ahead and do a 3-inch trim on either side. You could add a little sill if you wanted to, and we could do an extra trim there. Right. So we'll do a little bit of a sill, add some trim work there. You can see that table just ends up just below that, and then we have some trim work here and the trim here, right? And then you could pull it this way if you wanted to try to have it look like the trim there. Okay, trim that up. And then the last thing, it looks like it's a dividing of 2 windows, so we'll go ahead and we'll put that in the front. Right, so we've got the window. I'm going to put a couple lines of glass to just show that it's the glass material. And then the last thing in the directions just says it has a 5-inch, let's see, the 5-inch for the base trim. So we'll just go in. I'm going to do it up off the floor at 5 inches, have the bar to bring it across. I'll hit it in this corner even though it's behind the chair, because what that means is then I can just take it from the VP to the 5-inch mark and carry that over. And then the other thing would be from the VP to this 5-inch over on this side. And that establishes what that is. You can add a little bit of a top to it if you wanted as well, just to give it some thickness to the look. There won't be a whole lot of it. It's quite a small rendering, but it could kind of give it a little bit of a thickness there. And then you could add that same little bit of a thickness over there, and I'll carry that over, and you're done. All right, I'll pull this up a little bit off of there before I end the video so that you can see how, in fact, this would look when you've got it lifted up. These were some of those marks on the wall that I made. I'll go ahead and erase those as well. All right. And that's your perspective.